Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 568 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. Whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, you are very, very welcome. We have some comments. First comment today goes to Alex, who says, hello, Mr. P, and hello to everyone from Boiling Hot Graz today. I love how, Alex, through your comments, we're getting a kind of meteorological history, meteorological chronology of your hometown. Scent of the day is newly bought Narcisse Noir by Caron, a beautiful old-fashioned delight. So newly bought, does that mean new to you, or is it actually a new current batch, in which case is it still intact? Do you like it? Yvette is here as well, saying, here, woohoo, scent of the day is En Passant. Good choice as well. Rita says, good afternoon, Mr. P and friends. Oriana is here saying, a scent of the day is Musc Ravageur from Frederic Malle. Very great choices, all of you. Hello from Indonesia, says Fahmi. Shaika's here as well, saying, hello, Mr. P. Alex says, hello, watching from Belfast. And Shan says, I'm wearing L'air du temps, cause hoping and praying for peace. Well, yes. Let's not go. Well, actually, let us go there, but also let us not go there for today, for the next hour or so, if you know what I mean. Oh, Alex has got an answer to the Caron question. Alex says, I love it. It's the current formulation. That's good to know. Okay, so keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording. Today's plan, I think regular viewers will know that when you see lots of perfumes displayed, that means we're not going to be stopping and starting for separate videos. We're just going to kind of keep going, and we will try to cover as many of these as possible. I think we'll probably be able to cover all of them, don't you? So we have got 3, not sure if they still count as new, but we're going to call them newish things from Valentino, new from Miller Harris, and also very, very definitely new and very exciting from Les Indemodables, which the presence of which also prompted me to, or reminded me that I wanted to talk to you about this thing here, but I'll tell you what it is towards the end. Is that a Miller Harris, I see, says Rita. Yes, it is, and I think we should start with that one. For some reason, lots of comments coming through. Shaka says, just ordered Carnal Flower, so excited. Oh, have you tried it before? I mean, I'm guessing you probably have, but if you haven't, you are in for a treat. Tina says, I'm waiting for my Spoturno discovery set, and I'm so excited. I am excited for you. Speaking of Spoturno, over on Substack, the Substack at the moment, and you will find a link to my Substack in the video description below. I have done a sort of halfway point through the year, the top perfumes of the year so far. A list which can and no doubt will change by the time we get to the end of December. David, hello David, says scent of the day is Bulgari Zahira and Guerlain Jardin de Bagatelle. Both at the same time. Wow, brave man, David. Digging your necklace a lot, Mr. P, says Shan. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind, Shan. Okay, let's start with the Miller Harris. We have got some press blurbs, press materials on some of these ones. We have pre-sprayed blotters. We have pre-labeled blotters. So, new from Miller Harris, composed by Sidonie Lancesseur, who is probably best known for doing Sunshine Woman for Amouage, several scents for Killian. I just need to arrange my things here. And by the way, I feel like I maybe need to adjust the volume a little bit. So has that just blown your ears off, or is that still all right? Okay, let's go with that. This is called Melody. Now, Miller Harris, you know, since the time that Lynn Harris herself sold it and it moved on, it's been a bit of a funny brand, I think we can safely say. Very, very, very definitely hit or miss. It now has absolutely has a commercial imperative in mind, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that, because obviously, as I've said many times before on this channel, perfume brands are not charities, right? They are there to make money, they are there to make a profit, they are there to pay the wages of all of the people who work for them. But there is a way of doing that, as many, many brands have demonstrated over the years. There is a way of doing that while also creating things that are interesting and innovative and new and different and striking. I'm not sure Miller Harris have been that interested in the innovative and new and interesting and striking in recent years. A Melody, I think, is a case in point. I did have a pre-sniff of this a couple of days ago. It's quite a sweet, sugary, rosy pear opening. But for what it is, it's well done. I smelt it after smelling a few things which were decidedly not pleasant, and were not easy to wear. And when this came along, I thought to myself, okay, well, it's quite cute, it's quite charming, it's quite sweet. I thought Melody was quite an apt name for it. Gavin says, it's not that the Miller Harris perfumes I've tried are not interesting, new, striking, etc. For me, it's that they are banal. Well, yes, I think a lot of the new ones are banal. This one, from the current-ish crop, I think this is probably one of the better ones, purely because, well, at least to start with, purely because the materials in here are of a sufficiently high quality to not make you cringe when you smell them. There's something powdery happening here. It's very, very, very overtly, very decidedly feminine, very soft. It's a kind of Disney princess of a perfume. I mean, it's really, really trying hard not to offend. Almost to the point, just to be really, really perverse, because I think maybe I'm in that kind of a mood today. It's trying hard, so hard not to offend, almost to the point that its very attempt to be inoffensive starts being a kind of offensive, if you see what I mean. There is a lot of pear going around, says Oriana, on the heels of Guidance. Yes, but this is nothing like Guidance. I mean, the use of pear in Amouage Guidance is interesting and striking and innovative, you know, combined with that hazelnut note and then the rose, etc., etc. I mean, Guidance, yeah, there is not much connecting these two perfumes, let us say. Disney princess of a perfume. Which princess, says David? I knew somebody would ask that. Okay, my knowledge of Disney princesses is not great. So let's go with this before I read the press release. So first I've got to think, is this a more modern Disney princess, or is it a kind of classic, old school Disney princess? I think there is something kind of 1950s housewife about this. Maybe, well, whether it's been done ironically or not, I don't know. So what's a 1950s, 1960s Disney? I mean, I'm thinking maybe this is Sleeping Beauty. Maybe this is Sleeping Beauty. Melody makes me think of Ariel, says David. Okay. Confession time. Movie buff here has never seen Disney's Little Mermaid. I think when it came out, I refused to watch it because I found out that... Okay, without giving away spoilers, even though I think we can probably do spoilers for a film that is as old as Little Mermaid, I found out that the ending of the Disney version is not exactly the same as the ending of the Hans Christian Andersen version. And I think the ending of the original is one of the most beautiful, heartbreaking endings ever in a fairy tale. So that was one reason I refused to watch it. David says she's got the most beautiful voice after all. Now, who is that? Is that Ariel? I don't know. Is that Ariel? I suppose it would have to be. We could go with Ariel, or I'm thinking maybe Sleeping Beauty. So who is that? Is that Aurora? I don't think it's Cinderella, but I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that era of Disney princesses. Cinderella is a definite housewife. Well, good point. Good point. So if we want 50s, 60s, maybe it is a Cinderella. Maybe the powderiness is a bit Cinderella as well. Okay. I knew doing a video today was a good idea, because I haven't had well, never mind. Let's not talk about me. I need your company today, shall we say? Miller Harris unveils Melody EDP, a new chapter in the Stories collection, inspired by passages from Open Water by Caleb Azamar Nelson. Not a writer I'm familiar with. Oh, Gavin says if they did the Hans Christian Andersen ending, they'd be sued for therapy fees by half of America. Yes, probably. Or then maybe not. You know, catharsis is a fine thing. A top 10 Disney princesses would be hilarious, says Alex. Oh, it would be hilarious, but I think I would need the assistance of certainly one of the younger members of the family. She would probably want just a top 10 Elsa video, probably. Probably. Anyway, British fragrance house Miller Harris is proud to announce the launch of Melody EDP, the latest addition to its evocative stories collection, inspired by passages of text from Open Water by Caleb Azumar Nelson, set in contemporary London. This lingering scent of love and longing is an elegant fragrance, redefining floral musk for a modern wearer. All this redefining stuff. I mean, yes, it is a floral, powdery, musky floral scent. Miller Harris is rooted in contemporary London, and it's the brand's love for the city's enterprise, diversity, culture and innovation that inspires its fragrance creativity. The new Melody EDP has been developed as a love letter to London, really, capturing the serendipity of its rhythm and the intimacy of a budding romance. Melody captures the essence of a fleeting presence when a loved one has left, but their scent remains wrapped in fabric and memory. This poetic inspiration is reflected in the ethereal scent featuring white musk, rose damascena absolute and blackcurrant, delicately balanced to create a cocooning, intimate fragrance evoking a soft, velvety embrace. Sidonie Lancesseur, who was responsible for its creation, says, "Musk was the perfect choice for this scent. It has an enveloping quality that softly binds the other elements together, as it does in most compositions wherein it is used. If perfectly balanced, it creates a composition that feels rounded and comforting, like an invisible embrace." Fine. With a focus on sustainable sourcing, Melody incorporates high-quality, natural and upcycled ingredients, reinforcing Miller Harris's commitment to ethical and responsible perfumery, a fragrance that feels both comforting and deeply intimate. It is designed to blend seamlessly on the skin, yada yada yada, unfolding in distinct layers, each evoking a different emotional element. The fragrance, okay, here we go. The fragrance opens with a bright burst of blackcurrant and bergamot, as crisp as night air. A nuanced stem accord adds green facets that grounds the sweetness, as rose absolute and lavender evoke the soft, intimate scent off freshly picked petals. It's proofreading needed. Gavin says, "I third Disney princess to 10 with costumes." A top 10. Which Disney princess would I be now? Come on. There's a question for you. Who is my inner Disney princess? Who seconded though? Who seconded that? Oh, Oriana. So Oriana, Gavin, and Alex are calling for it. Lavender and Rose, maybe. Mulan, says Maria. Why? You have to say why. I haven't seen Mulan. I saw Pocahontas. I thought Pocahontas was quite good. Mr. P is Moana. See, I haven't even seen these. You have to tell me why. As the fragrance deepens, Ceylon tea adds serenity, while white musk, cashmere wood wrap around a hint of vanilla, adding warmth like an embrace. Anchored by cedarwood, this fragrance captures the bittersweet beauty of presence and absence. The bittersweet beauty of presence and absence. That's called, wanting to have your cake and eat it too, where sweetness lingers long after the moment fades. And we're told that floral musks, '(S), are experiencing a renaissance in fine fragrance, and Melody EDP is at the forefront of this movement. Well done, Melody. Musk has evolved. It's now a key player in modern skin scent perfumery, creating a feeling of well-being and intimacy. Lauren Boylan, head of product and sustainability, says, yeah, because like musks ever went away. Alongside vanilla for an addictive touch and fresh green notes like blackcurrant and basil, Melody blends nostalgia with contemporary elegance. But I want to know a little bit more about this author, so bear with me, please. Melody draws inspiration from the evocative storytelling of Caleb Azumar Nelson, an acclaimed London-based writer, photographer and musician. His novels, poetic exploration of love, loss and longing resonated with Miller Harris, influencing the fragrance's emotional depth. His writing mirrors the art of perfumery. Both capture fleeting moments and transform them into something lasting and deeply personal, says Alex Opray, CCO. Open Water, anybody read it? I'm sure I don't think I've even heard of it, is a tender and poetic love story that delves into the complexities of connection, vulnerability, race and identity. Set in London, it follows the blossoming relationship between two young black artists, a photographer and a dancer, who meet in a bar and form an immediate bond. The novel beautifully captures the sweetness of falling in love, the ache of unspoken fears, and the resilience it takes to be seen and loved fully. Against a backdrop of music, art, and the subtle rhythms of urban life, Open Water is a celebration of love's power to heal and transform, even in a world that doesn't always make space for such tenderness. And here's the passage that actually inspired the perfume, and then I promise we will do the pre-sprayed blotter and we'll move on. But Disney princesses. Oriana says, I feel like Mr. P is Jasmine. I have watched that one. I know Aladdin, but why? Bring back masks, says Gavin. And Dushan says, do you want a Musk for Men from 1982? Karen says, I still say Belle. It's the brunette energy. I won't elaborate. I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast either. But we might need to do it. Oriana says, my Disney princess is Sebastian, the crab from Ariel. Okay, very good. Passage from Open Water. Waiting for the bus in the darkness, you pull on the hoodie. It smells like her, sweet like the torn petal of a flower, sweet like lavender plucked from its stem while in summer bloom. You put your headphones on and load up Kelsey Lou's EP, Church, an album full of orchestral loops designed to reach towards a quiet ecstasy. You could be anywhere right now, your eyes closed, enveloped in her presence, which is heavier in her absence. But you are home, amongst the melody, slipping into percussive breaks, breathing easy. See, I want to read that now. I think I'd rather read the book than smell the perfume. Pre-sprayed melody. I cheated a little bit and did one of these a couple of days ago and did a pre-sprayed, and yeah, it becomes pretty boring. The melody wears thin, and the musks very definitely go into Cashmeran, but there's that kind of suggestion of woody ambers as well. It's definitely more interesting and more pleasant and more likable and more sort of banally charming in the beginning. At the end, it becomes solely banal. Rita says, let's get Mr. P a Disney Plus subscription so he can... I do have a Disney Plus subscription because of the little ones in the family, as I say. So yes, maybe I need to go on a binge, all in the name of research. A Disney princess. Is there a Disney film coming out soon that I can kind of tie it into? Anyway. Shan says, Melody is actually Ariel's daughter in the little... Ariel has a daughter? When did that happen? What version of the fairy tale is that? Or are there like countless sequels? Okay, let's change here a little bit. Valentino, around about this time last year, actually, announced that they were doing the exclusive thing as well. And when a brand nowadays announces that they're doing the exclusive thing, you sort of you do a double take and you think, oh gosh, hadn't even realised that they didn't have an exclusive thing. And theirs was called Anatomy of Dreams, I believe. And I think they came out with 7 perfumes, and the whole idea was that I think each one was meant to be a different colour of the rainbow. Oh, Rita is not recommending the Little Mermaid sequels. Okay, I still need to watch the first one. And the company that distributes them or does the PR for them got in touch not that long ago and told me about them and said, we'd like to send you a sample, and I did my usual, I do not guarantee to review anything I receive, and I don't guarantee that any reviews will necessarily be positive. And I said, actually, if you have like a little discovery set that might have little vials of all of them, that would be ideal, because I don't particularly need a full bottle, but being able to sample a few drops of each one would be great. So through some thinking process unknown to me, what they sent, very, very kindly, very generously, was 30 mils of 3 of them. And I don't know why they made that selection. It could be because that's all they had, I don't know, or maybe they did their homework and decided these are the ones that might resonate with me most strongly. So we have Sogno in Rosso, L'Innocence de l'air, or L'Innocence de l'air, I never know how you say that word in French, and Private Talk. Valentino's mainstream range, I think, is doing all right with their Donna and Uomos that seem to be going through countless sequels and flankers. The fact that they keep going with them suggests that the originals are doing well. And actually, some of those flankers and sequels haven't been too bad. I seem to remember that there was a men's one that reminded me quite a bit of original Dior Homme, as in, the Olivier Polge version. But as a mainstream range, it isn't particularly interesting. It's not the kind of thing that I, especially keep a nose out for. We're still on Disney. Karen says, my 3-year-old niece wrote a rave review for Little Mermaid 2 Return to the Sea. It's up on Letterboxd if you wanted to be... Okay, I'd need to sign up to Letterboxd. Gavin is keeping us on task and says, Valentino is big structural ball gowns. I expect huge fragrances with lots of naturals. I don't think we're going to get that. So, Anatomy of Dreams, as I say, is their exclusive. And the inspiration, it seems, was a Roman palazzo, which is a sort of something and nothing. It's a kind of everything and a nothing. A Roman palazzo basically could mean that you can take your inspiration from anything. I have pre-smelt these. The Shrug is my too long didn't read review. Let's start with Sogno and Rosso. Now, which one was that one? That's by Fabrice Pellegrin. I think they may all have been done by Firmenich, actually. Now, Fabrice Pellegrin is a perfumer whose work I don't just admire, I tend to love. I think at his best, he is just wonderful. He's made some of my favourite perfumes. Oh, and the packaging, they're really pushing the sustainability thing with the package. So when you open one of these 30ml, well done for making 30ml, by the way, that is always a good thing. When you open the box, you get a kind of diagram that explains where all the different elements of the box have come from. And they're very proud of the fact that everything's made in France. So it says the bottle you hold, it says for people who need reading glasses, the bottle you hold in your hand is produced and assembled in France. The bottle is made of 97% glass with whatever it is, 13% recycled glass, and then it goes on about the cap and the label. I don't know why that's particularly important, that it's all made in France. And this is... It's just... Its opening is the best bit. It's kind of peppery, kind of generically floral, maybe a little bit indolic, but really quite simplistic. For an exclusive range, I'll tell you what they say about it. And I had all of the pages lined up, and look, they're gone. So, Sogno in Rosso, the spiciness of pepper, the creamy, velvety Italian milk foam accord, frees itself of its candour. Lost in translation, maybe? Let's try that again. The spiciness of pepper, the creamy, velvety Italian milk foam accord, frees itself of its candour. A colour top note, black pepper essence, juniper berry essence, and petit grain. A couture heart note, incense, orange blossom absolute, and a latte foam accord. Bet you've got a gap in your collection for a latte foam perfume. A cool base note, sandalwood heart, vanilla bourbon, premium infusion from Madagascar, and an ambergris accord. And the keynotes are apparently black pepper and the milk foam accord. This range, by the way, this Valentino range, also has a couple of perfume enhancers that you're meant to buy, which always kind of makes me raise my eyebrows in skepticism. It's not cheap. The 30 mils costs £105, and if you would like to have 100 mils, that's £295, so nearly £300 for 100 mils of this stuff. Matthew says, if mainstream brands are all going into the exclusivity game where they explore scents a bit more complex, that's because there's a market for it. If so, shouldn't they do bolder mainstream scents? A very, very good question, but I think their marketing people have worked out that if they call them exclusive and they say, look, these are the special ones, they can actually charge a lot more for them. Whereas I think perfumes that go into more regular retail outlets, so in the UK, let's say, Boots, which is still a very, very important seller of perfumes, and even maybe to some extent places like John Lewis. A £300 perfume in those sorts of retail outlets would be considered to be pretty expensive. But yeah, it's a good question, Matthew. Often Liz says, wish that colour top note were red spray paint instead. That would smell interesting. Yes, it would. Ralph says, not good enough. I want a latte glass accord. I know that would be good. A latte, yeah. They are just a shrug. They are a shrug in a bottle. We'll do. By the way, what does Sogno, Sogno in Rosso mean? I mean, I know what the Rosso means, but what's Sogno? Somebody help me out with the Italian. It's, you know, as I was aware that there is meant to be this kind of milky feel to it, I think, well, maybe I can just about... Actually, milkiness comes up more convincingly, sort of, in another one. But let's do the supposedly innocent one. So, L'Innocence Stellaire, where's my page ready for that one? That one is by Nathalie Lorson. Here we go. Shrug in a bottle would be a nice name for a scent. Yeah, how much would you pay for it though, Alex? This I think sums up the problem with so many so-called exclusive scents, because as one of you said just a few minutes ago, for these sorts of high-end perfumes, you want something interesting, you want something different. I don't think you necessarily want something loud, but if it's going to be quiet, it should be quiet in an interesting way. I mean, Chanel, Dior, let's throw some other exclusive out. I mean, Chanel and Dior were the sort of two big, really high-profile ones. They have shown that you don't have to... I mean, Chanel launched with EDTs, right? And they were very successful with their EDTs. And they showed that you don't have to be loud, but you can be high quality. This is... So, the innocence of... Oh, Sogno is to dream, says David. Thank you very much. So, a dream in red or red dreams? So I'm guessing Rosso is red, right? It's not pink, because Rose is pink in French. Anyway, red dreams. This is just a very simple, okay, perfectly competently done, citrusy, dewy rose with the suggestion of iris. Quite a rooty kind of iris. But it's so quiet and it's so timid that it's just insufficient. And I get that maybe the idea was to do something that's meant to be, you know, innocent and ephemeral, but I think you could still put more dimensions into that and maintain this feeling of innocence. What does the brand say about it? Why on earth did I lose the page? Okay, so L'Innocence Stellaire, the Italian garden interpreted by fresh and clean notes of the centifolia rose, blended with a sparkly green tangerine from Calabria. A tall and arched window opens like welcoming arms as an intimate invite to step out from the cool, shadowed interior of the palazzo and explore the vibrancy of an Italian garden and its hidden pathways. The alleys lead to a magnificent sight, a classical fountain with is cascading tiers of water, echoing the grandeur of the palazzo itself. The scent of ripening mandarins, their branches, laden fruit, mingle with the delicate perfume of rose petals scattered on the warm stone. L'Innocence Stellaire pledges new beginnings, of the earth awakening from its winter slumber, captured perfectly in the sparkling notes of Calabrian green tangerine, intertwined by the fresh dewy essence of centifolia rose, a fragrance crafted by Nathalie Lorson. So this is meant to contain super essence green mandarin from Italy, angelica seed, ombrette from Guatemala. Maybe that's what I'm reading as something a bit irisy, actually. Maybe it's the ombrette coming through like that. Centifolia rose, damascena rose, musks, and a base note called suederal, which must be. I would imagine that's kind of feminish material. I'm gonna look up suederal afterwards, or maybe one of you could. So it's suede, RAL. Somebody please look up, if you maybe type suederal feminish, something interesting might come up. Is this written by AI, says Alex? No, I think it's probably just poorly translated by somebody. Just the kind of thing that if you had... you'd want to pay, I don't know, £50 for 100 mils of this stuff, or £60 for 100 mils of, not £105 for 30 mils. It's just, it's yet another shrug. And then we get to the one that at least has a somewhat more interesting opening, and that's Private Talk, which is by Nicolas Bonneville. Where's Blotter? Don't let me forget to do the pre-sprayed ones as well. So Private Talk. Oh, it's made by IFF, says Offenlicht. Well, then maybe... Well, then I don't know. Scrap that. Gavin says they didn't send you Rock Stud Noir. You should be offended. I am offended. The Disney princess in me. Who's the most rock stud Disney princess? Now this one does at least have a somewhat more interesting opening. Yeah. Because this is tuberose combined with coffee. But not just coffee. They call it a cappuccino accord. And actually I kind of get that, because it's a very, very gentle coffee and you can feel the milkiness. And the combo with the tuberose is properly intriguing. It made me think a little bit of cardamom coffee from Lush from several years ago, but I think here the seam between the tuberose and the coffee is more invisible. It has been done better, and somehow the milkiness of the tuberose ties in with the coffee. The darkness of the coffee links quite well with the sort of more vampish quality of the tuberose. This was an interesting one, at least at the start. Didn't Atelier Cologne do a tuberose coffee years ago, says Gavin? I expect they did, and I'm sure it's not a completely original idea, but it's not one that we come across very, very often. What do they say about it? The fragrance unveils a very... Actually, no, let's read the longer description, because I prefer those. Hidden deep within the Roman palazzo's heart lie the private stairs, worn smooth by the passage of countless footsteps. At their crest stands the bust of a statue. The bust of a statue. Can we say the bust of a statue, or do we just say a bust? Dressed in impeccable white stone, despite the passage of time, born silent yet witness to generations of hushed conversations and stolen moments, holding secrets whispered. The air vibrates with a palpable energy, a residue of clandestine meetings and lingering touches. As each step, it says, evokes memories of stolen moments, private talks between lovers, the stairs unveil a captivating blend of opulent tuberose and comforting cappuccino accord. The tuberose evokes the lavish bouquets of white flowers that once graced these steps, their seductive aroma as a potent reminder of sensual nights and whispered promises. Intertwined with this floral opulence comes the unexpected warmth of Italian cappuccino accord. I love how they keep telling us it's an accord, like some of us might think that actually they've extracted a perfume oil from cappuccino. Its rich aroma bringing energy and comfort, a sensory experience as addictive and exhilarating as a secret affair. In Private Talk is blend... Somebody... If they pay me, I'll rewrite this for them. In Private Talk is blend the Osmo Bloom tuberose. A true innovative process to extract the tuberose, respecting true scent of fresh flowers, capturing the flower's fragrant molecules with an airflow, with no heating, no cooling, low energy consumption, and respecting the integrity of the flower that can be reused for an other extraction. A fragrance crafted by Nicolas Bonneville. Okay. I'm not sure if I would like to smell like cappuccino, says Alex. I don't know. I think you might want to smell like this one. Gavin says the PR person thinks they're doing word versions of the De Chirico paintings. I'm not familiar with that artist. Shan says, Mr. P, I know you'd be thrilled for me, but I got a bottle of Bulgari Eau Parfumée au Thé Noir for 20,000 rupees. So happy. I've completely forgotten the conversion, Shan. What is that in pounds or in dollars, roughly? 20,000. I've completely... I think their translator is Google Translate, says Matthew. Yeah, you may be right, or maybe chat, or maybe the flatulent cat. Dushan says, Alex, what about chai latte from Starbucks? Is that a perfume? Have they done it? So, out of the three that in their wisdom they sent me, Private Talk has the most intriguing opening. Let us go to our pre-sprayed. Now, Sogno in Rosso, I have to say, is the most off-putting one, because proper ambery woods, and I have to say they sneak up on you in this perfume, because I certainly didn't really detect them at the start. Yeah. So no, I would say what's Italian for nightmare? Cauchemar, cauchemar. What, I don't know. That's French, isn't it? Cauchemar in Rosso. Mal Sogno in Rosso. Yeah, so very, very definite thumbs down. Then we had the innocent one. Karen says, if Starbucks did perfumes, I'd probably get at least one. I would certainly be interested in smelling them. Alex says, actually, in this heat, my Narcisse Noir has some chai latte vibes. Interesting, interesting. The innocent one. I mean, you know, substitute the word innocent with dull, maybe, and boring and insipid, but kind of pleasant. You know, the dull, insipid, boring person who is nevertheless pleasant. Oh, and the chai recommendations are coming for some reason. We Are Sentient says, Jovois Remember Me is a lovely chai. Thank you very much. And finally, we have the one that starts off most interesting, the private talk. Yeah. Bit of a nothing ending, really. I mean, the tuberose fades away, the cappuccino has been left undrunk, and the foam has just kind of turned into rather dubious-looking white liquid. They retain their sort of most interesting, and I use the word interesting loosely, facets for the beginning, and that's kind of pretty much it. But I have saved the more interesting ones for the end of the broadcast. So at this point, I should say, you are watching episode, I can't remember, 568 was it, of Love at First Sight with me, Persolaise. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below, as well as a link to my Substack, on which the latest article on which is a rundown of the top 10 perfumes of 2025 so far. Oh, and also, on the Substack, there is a free post about an event that I'm doing for a brand that I reckon most of you have heard of. So if you're in London, in or around London on the 10th of July, which is a Thursday, please do consider coming along to that event. It would be amazing to see some of you there. But now we have something brand new from Les Indemodables. One of my favorite brands, as you know. I know that a lot of you rate the brand very, very highly as well. This is their new Immortelle Solaire, composed by, come on, go into focus, there you go. Composed by Antoine Lee, as have all of their most recent perfumes been. I had a sneak preview of this a few months ago in Milan at the Essence perfume exhibition, and I immediately thought, ooh, this is going to be one of the better ones. The hazelnut one that came out, what was it, last year? And I forget what it was called. It was something noisette. Was it patchouli noisette? I admired the way it was made, but I must confess, and I think I may have said as much in my review, I couldn't personally connect to it. I didn't quite get it. This one has got my name written all over it. It's really, really one of the good ones, I think, one of the better ones from them. And I, you know that it's praise from me indeed when I say that I'm very, 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 very seriously tempted to treat myself to a full bottle of this stuff and add it to my, permanent Les Indemodables collection. And I know that you know that we don't talk about compliments on this channel as a kind of, reason for going with certain perfumes, but I've worn this a few times already, and when people have kind of, got closer to me to say hello or to say goodbye, whatever, they've all sort of gone, ooh, what is that? That is really, really good, because it is. So here we have a spray of the new Immortelle Solaire from Antoine Lee and Les Indemodables. Now, Gavin says, do they stop the Immortelle sticking out like a sore, curried thumb? Now, that's an interesting one, because, of course, some of us may want that. They very kindly sent me with this review sample. They also sent me a few more than a few drops actually, of the Immortelle material that they have used. Now, the brand Les Indemodables, for those of you who are not aware, is headed by husband and wife team, Remy and Valérie Pulveraille, who also, particularly as far as Remy is concerned, are very, very, very serious, you know, in a major way. It's a big part of what they do, very serious about creating raw materials in an innovative way, which they then sell to other brands. Their materials are used in scents from Eris, you know, Barbara Herrmann's brand. My mind is going to go blank now. Aren't they used from what's the brand? Oh my goodness, this is really bad because I've forgotten his name, and he actually did an interview with me on this channel as well. The Canadian chap, Les Abstrait. Thank you very much. Thank you. And there's another brand that I'm forgetting as well that uses their stuff. Really, really good brand. Oh, my brain has gone to mush today. I'm blaming the weather. Well, if it'll come back to me. Amouage uses their patchouli, says Offenlicht. Oh, news to me. I didn't know that. Alex says, by the way, you were so right with the effect of Ombre Samar by Guerlain. I was never so often complimented in just one day. That's amazing. If it happened to you as well, in a completely different country, right? Because to me, it happened in Sri Lanka. Anyway, so to go back to Gavin's question, does the Immortelle stick out? This is the actual Immortelle. I pre-dipped this earlier. Now, Immortelle is a beautiful material. Very, very curious because it's got this kind of green, rooty, licorice-like, pollen-like, curry type feel to it. If you want to get an idea of what it smells like, you could try smelling Eau Noire from Dior or Immortelle Corse, somebody has already mentioned here from Parfum d'Empire. And it's one of those materials that needs taming. But also, if you're using it, then that's presumably because you want to showcase it in some way. I love the smell of it. I've never particularly thought of curries when I smell it, and I say this as somebody who cooks and eats a lot of food, you know, that you could class as being Indian, Pakistani, Bengali food, and I've never really sort of smelt Immortelle and thought, oh gosh, that makes me think of a curry. Maybe something cumin-like about it. But I think what they've decided to do in order to sort of work with the Immortelle is basically to turn it into a kind of modern patchouli fougere type construction. And as I smell it now, it's making me think of things like Brut from Fabergé. And apologies to Remy and Valerie and Antoine Lee if this isn't at all what they were thinking, but that's where my brain goes. And my brain also went to YSL Rive Gauche pour Homme by Jacques Cavalier. And to me, this is high praise. But it is also solar. So what they've done is they've stopped the overall effect from being heavy and too dark, and I'm guessing there's a kind of lavender thing in there as well, which makes the whole be filled with the most beautiful kind of sharp, clear sunlight. It's really, really, really beautiful stuff, and I love the idea of the name somehow also meaning immortal sunlight. Because even though eventually the fragrance moves on to the evening and to the night, it still retains the spirit of sort of daytime and sunlight. I have a very, very, very brief press leaflet, which I will share with you. It says, the essential oil and absolute of everlasting flower used by perfumers today are difficult ingredients to work with and to dose, reproducing the plant's olfactory complexity only very imperfectly with harsh and dry facets that are not very aesthetic. After 18 months of research, and when they say 18 months of research, they mean it, watch the interviews that they have done on this channel because they are very, very fascinating about the industry as a whole and about materials. After 18 months of research, the extract developed by Atelier Français des Matières represents a true innovation, finally unveiling the complete olfactory profile of this plant, faithful to what one can smell in the field. Antoine Lee, Master perfumer was thus able to integrate this unique and exclusive new ingredient in overdose in the latest opus from Les Indemodables, Immortelle Solaire. This highly distinctive and original creation is thus a play of light and materials. It is. It showcases the full complexity of the ultrasonic full-spectrum everlasting, combining an iodized and luminous accord with facets of licorice and candied fruit, in subtle balance with darker notes of spices, wood, and slightly smoky leather. Actually, yes, leather is a good point. It evokes a summery atmosphere, bathed in sunlight at that precise moment when the midday sun scorches the limestone rock of a Provençal landscape in the south of France. And they say that it contains the full spectrum ultrasound everlasting flower, a patchouli oil from Indonesia, and you get a really, really beautiful, gorgeous patchouli in the base, which I think is the thing that kind of makes me think as well of Brut and Rivoche pour Homme. Their ultrasound hazelnut accord and a styrax oil, and they tell us that they mature it for a week and macerate it for 2 weeks. And it's beautiful, honestly. Pre-sprayed. It's just gorgeous, and it becomes, I think, even more complex as it moves on, because the patchouli, there's something in there as well that's adding a kind of powdery feel. What was the other thing that they said? Patchouli, hazelnut, and the styrax. Maybe that kind of balsamic quality is what's combining in just the most heartbreaking way. It's one of those, you don't want the day to end, you don't want the perfume to end, you don't want the sunlight to go away. I think I wouldn't say that it's scorching. To me, it's more gentle than that. But it's very, very, very suave. So, if you want to take scorching in inverted commas. That does sound gorgeous, says Natalie. Mr. P, you should do a Pigmentarium showcase. Oratorio is my favourite. I don't know that brand. Tool says, I see on their website, it says 3.3% Immortelle, 2.9 patchouli, 1.9 hazelnut, 0.5 styrax. That's only 8.6%. What's the other 91.4% of stuff? Ooh, that's the mystery best known to them. And that may not necessarily mean 3.3. Well, I don't know what it means. Perhaps if we have them on. Would you like another interview with Remy and Valerie? Should we try to arrange that? Because it's been a while since they've been on here. Let me know. But this is a very, very definite thumbs up. It goes straight up to the list of my favourites from the brand, together with Rose de Jamal and Iris Perle and Chypre Azural and all of those ones. It's really, really beautiful. And very, very quickly, Immortelle Solaire reminded me of this. Brooke Belden, who in the UK stocks Les Indemodables, very kindly sent me a sample of this a few weeks ago because she was asked to by the person who owns the brand. This is how these things go. If this was not a perfume I was familiar with, it's called Personne, as in the French word for nobody. And I think it comes from a brand or an outfit called Iconofly. I haven't quite been able to get to the bottom of how this works, but Iconofly is also very closely related to the brand Sous les Manteaux, a brand that was available in the UK for a while, but thank you Brexit and thank you post-Brexit regulations, had to leave the UK. I remember being very, very fond of their Vapeur Diablotine, and I think I reviewed it on this channel. And who's the founder of that brand? I had the name up here. That's it. Olivia Brandsborg. And I don't know whether Iconofly is some sort of a collective done with other brands, with other creative directors. Look it up and see what you can find out. Iconofly started as a magazine, says we are. See, I didn't know that. Okay. Anyway, this is made by Alexandre Helwani, who also gave up his time a little while ago to do an interview here in his wearing his Histoire de Parfum hat, but I didn't know that he has perfumes credited to him. And this is really, really interesting. I won't spend a great deal of time talking about it, but it's worth mentioning it today because it too has a striking Immortelle note. It's a lot darker, and I think fair to say a lot rougher around the edges and more niche than the Immortelle Solaire, and by that I mean kind of unfinished a bit rough and ready, just maybe a little bit crude, but that's okay as an aesthetic sometimes. If you go to the Saint Cellier website, and if you've never been to that website and you live in the UK, you need to do yourself a favour and go to the website, because they stock some truly interesting perfumes. By the way, this was not sent to me, as you know, if you're regular viewers, in they don't expect plugs, they don't expect coverage, they don't expect anything. I think they just sort of send me things if they think they're going to be, if they think they may be of interest to me. Personne is actually inspired by the Odyssey, and it goes sort of act by act through different stages of the journey, and it takes this sort of 3-act structure, with the first being deception, then moving on to tenderness, moving on to hope. There is a lot happening in here, so if I just very quickly tell you some of the notes, there's meant to be myrtle essential oil, juniper berries, cypress, bay leaf, cannabis, laurel, rosemary, hyacinth, the fig, the immortelle as well, poplar buds, fenugreek, davana, barley, cedarwood, violet leaf absolute, and bran absolute, and a liatrix absolute. It is fascinating. It's kind of doing the sort of dark and light thing at the same time, but it's if you want something that smells a little bit gorilla, or guerrilla, I should say, and a little bit punk, and a little bit away from kind of mainstream haute perfumery perfection, do seek this out. I did do a pre-sprayed blotter of this one as well. Is that the correct one? Yes, it is. Yeah, the dry down is a bit less rough, and it goes into more balsamic, resinous, immortelle, hay-like territory. But it's well worth checking out. And I think the last time I looked, 100 mils of this stuff is actually probably by today's standards quite affordable. Cheap Imitation says, I loved your interview with Alexandra. That interview was a great watch, says Offenlicht. And Oriana is talking, fell out of love with Les Indemodables after Milan, says Oriana. Oh dear, why? What happened there? People skills are maybe not their strength. Ooh, okay, well, I can't comment, but sorry about that. Maybe give their perfumes another go. Tool says, at this point I have developed a superpower of smelling perfumes by only looking at the notes. Ah, even the best perfumers don't have that superpower, so be careful. Ryan says, still waiting for you to feature the more rough Middle Eastern artisanal stuff, Mr. P. Arij Ladora. Yeah, I need to get hold of some samples. A few scents from Histoire de Parfum are magnificent, says Alex. Okay, so do check that one out. Okay, I think we are done. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching the recording, please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. Stay tuned to social media for info about new videos coming your way. But until then, be good, and I will see you soon. Bye now.